Okay, so now I have all the points for the cut surface. So now I can just connect the points using outlines. So I'll just connect the points for the cut surface. To there, from here to there. Okay, okay. Okay, so this is the cut surface, so I can just hatch this surface. So the spacing for the hatching lines must be even. Okay, so I'm done with the cut surface for the prism. So now I'll just leave this top view of the prism like this, and then I'll just proceed to the pyramid. I'll just try and draw the top view of the pyramid in light construction first, and then I'll just project the points for the cut surface. Okay, so now obviously these two solids are in contact there, so the edge of the pyramid and the edge of the prism, they just touch there, right? They are in contact there. So it means right now I do have point number 2, this point for the prism, not the prism, for the pyramid. So I do have point number 2. So point number 2 is right here. So here I have point A and 2 because they share a point there, right? And I have point A. Obviously this is the highest point, so that point is right there. So it means I do have the edge for the pyramid line A2. A2 is right there, right? Okay, so now because obviously this pyramid is leaning against the edge there of the prism, so it means that obviously for me to get point number 1, I'll just extend that line. So I'll just extend this line, right? Okay. Okay, so now point 1 is right there, so I'll just project that point down to the slide. So this is point number 1, right? Okay, so now when it comes to point number 3, I'll just project that point down to there. Okay, so now when it comes to this point, I'll have to measure this distance and then mark it down there, somewhere there. So I'll just take my compass, put my compass at that point there to point number 3 like that, and then obviously I'll use the same line, but now I'll put my compass where? Right there. So I'll put my compass there. Let me just move my, okay, so I'll put my compass there, right, and then I'll mark a point down there. So this is point number 3. So this is our point number 3. Okay, so now I have point 1, 2, 3, right? So I can just connect those points like that, just like that. And then now obviously I have the base of the pyramid. So this is the base of the pyramid. And we also have the highest point, which is point A. And that point, we do have it from our top view. That point is right there. So all the points from the base, they go up to the highest point, which is point A, right? Okay, I'll start with point number 1. There's a line to point A, okay, and point number 2, there's a line from point number 2 to A, and then point number 3, that means I'll have to project this point to point A as well. So I'll just project this point to point A like that. So this is the top view of the pyramid. So obviously I have the base, and I also have the apex, the highest point right there. So now I can just go back to my cutting plane and check where is the cutting plane cutting the pyramid. So this cutting plane is cutting this pyramid from here up to there. So we have 3 points there, right, on the cutting plane. So I'll have to project these points down. But okay, let me start with this point, right? So this line, this is line A1, right? So where is line A1 from our top view? Line A1 is right there. So I can just project that point down to line A1 there. So that means this is our first point of the cut surface, right? Okay, and then we move to the next point. So this is line A3. So line A3 from the top view is right there. So I'll have to project this point to that line. So I'll just project the point to line A3. Okay, then I'm done with this point, and then I go to the next one. So here we have line A2. So line A2 is right over there. So I can just project that point to line A2. That means we have a point there. So now I can just connect these 3 points. So this is the cut surface. So we have that point. So we can just draw a line up to there. Then connect those 2 points like that. Like that. Okay. Then now I can just hatch the surface the opposite direction, because these are 2 different solids. So just hatch that surface. Just like that. So now I'll have to complete the top view, because now I do have the 2 cut surfaces of the 2 solids, right? Okay, so because now we've cut these 2 solids here, and that means we are removing this top portion, the upper portion. So obviously we are removing this top portion. Okay, so that means we have cut these 2 solids there, and obviously we'll remove this part. So after removing this part, looking from the top, that means I'll see the cut surfaces there, which is those 2. So obviously we are left with this lower section of the 2 solids, right? Okay, I'll start with the pyramid. Obviously from this point to line 2.1, there's a line there, so I can just draw that line. So it's this point to point number 1, and then we have a line from this point to point number 3, so it's this line there. So I can just draw that line like that. Why not this line up to A? It's because this line is removed. It's no longer there. It's that line there. So we have removed this section, right? Okay, and then obviously this is the base line. This is the edge of the base. Okay, and what else? From here to point number 2, already we have a line there. So this is the top view of the pyramid. This is complete. Then I'll move to the prism. Okay, for the prism, I'll start with line BB, right? So obviously from this point to point B there is a line. So obviously that point, where is it? Oh, it's here. So I'll use this point, so I can just connect those two from here to there, like that. And also line DD, from that point to point D, it's this one here. So I can just draw that part like that. Okay, so now obviously remember we have the base of the prism right over there. So obviously the base, we still have the base, but we don't have the top surface. We just have that small section of the top surface, right? So that means I can just draw the base of the prism there. So I'll just draw this line to A, and also this B there. But obviously remember there is a pyramid here. I can't draw a line all the way to point A, because obviously that edge is hidden, because there is what, a pyramid on top there. Okay, and also I can't draw the square of the base, because this section is just underneath, so I can't see this edge, or the edges, I can't see them, right? Okay, so I'm done with this lines. Okay, we still have this section there. That section is right over here from our top view, so obviously I have to connect this. So just draw. If you check, this is point D, right? So I can't draw a line from that point to C. Why? Because D is right there, and remember we have removed this part, this top part here. So I'll start there. So I'll just draw a line from that point up to there. I'll sort of like that. Okay, and also this line. Okay, so this is the complete sectional top view. So I have the two cut surfaces and the lower portion of the two solids. So this is the complete top view, sectional top view. So I can just mark that point out, right? Okay, so now I move to the true shape of the cut surfaces. Okay, so now when it comes to the true shapes, that means we'll use the cutting plane, right? Obviously. So now, because I can't just project the points up there, because I don't have enough space because of this auxiliary view, I can just draw a vertical line from this point. From this point here, I'll just draw a vertical line. And then I'll just move this cutting plane vertically up there. So I'll just project all these points to this vertical line. So I can just take my compass, put my compass at that point, to the first point there. So I'll start with this point, just project this point to the line, and then I have to project the next point. So just project that point as well, and this point there, and the last point right there, like that. Okay, so I think I'll have to just move my thing a little bit down. Okay, perfect. So now I have those points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've projected the points from the cutting plane to this vertical line, and then from here I'll just project these lines horizontally. like that. Like that. Okay, perfect. So now it's simple. What we have to do now, we just have to project the measurements to the section up there. Let me just zoom out. Okay, it's fine. So obviously I can just start here by this point. From here we have 2 points, right? It's those 2 points. So it means that I will just measure this distance from the XY line. Okay, before that I'll have to add the XY line there, up there. So I can just draw it there and label that line X1 Y1, right? Because already we have an XY line. So the moment you add an XY line, you have to label that XY line with a number. Okay, so we have X1 Y1 line there. So now I'll just go back to my top view, measure the distance there from the XY line to the point. Okay, and then obviously I'll have to use that line up there. So I'll put my compass on my X1 Y1 line and mark the first point there. So we have the first point over there. Okay, then the next point as well, same line. So just open the compass to the point. So from the XY line to the point, then I put my compass on the X1 Y1 line there, then mark the point, right? Okay, and then I move to the next point. So here, remember, we have 2 points as well. It's this point and that point over there. So let me just do like this. Okay, it's fine. So I'll start with that point down there, this point here. So now I'll use this line. I'll put my compass on the X1 Y1 line, mark a point there. Okay, and then the next one, it's this small section there. So I'll just take this, mark it there. So it's a point. Okay, I'm done with this point. I move to the next one. So here we have only 1 point. There's only 1 point. So I'll just measure the distance. Okay, then now I'll use this line. Then I mark that point up there. Okay, so it means this cut surface, the true shape of this cut surface, it's this one. I'll just connect the points. So I can just connect the points there, like that, like that, like that, like that. Okay, perfect. And then now I can just hatch the true shape of the cut surface, like that. Just hatch the surface. Like that. Just like that. Okay, so now I'll just move to the cut surface for the pyramid. So obviously I'll use those points. but right now I do have this point. That point is this one, so it's this point there. Okay, so now that means I'll just move to this point, right, from the cutting plane. So here we have one point as well, so it's this point. So I have to measure this distance from the XY line to the point. So obviously I'll use this line now. So put my compass on the X1, Y1 line. Then that means I have a point there. Okay, done with this point. Then I move to the next one. This one is right there. So I'll just measure that distance there. Then obviously I'll use this point there, that line, mark it there. So I have a point there. So that means I'm done. Remember, this cut surface for the pyramid is just a triangle, so obviously I must have a triangle there. So I can just join the points like that. Like that. Then I hatch the cut surface like that, just like that. And then I can just label this drawing true shape. Okay, so this is our complete drawing for this question.